आशं स्मरं शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं मां भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिवेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यं थास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमज्ञानस्मद्गुरुं सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि यः साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दप्रत्यगत्मेमक्रियं तन्नमामि गुरुशिष्य योगिगम्यं परं खानिलाग्न्यब्धरित्रं सर्पणिवोद्गतं यथाध्वान्तच्छिदे नमस्तस्फुरकलबुद्धिसाक्षिणे श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Tamamosmi. So here we saw the Anvaya in the earlier this thing. You have to say Saha Ahamasmi, not Tam Ahamasmi. Vyakarana wise is Tam will go with Avehi. Tam Avehi. Ahamasmi iti Avehi. Nanashwaram. Who is that? Ishvara. So Utpatti Sthiti Nasheshu Yaha. Yaha Utpatti Sthiti Nasheshu Avikaraya Avagatya Eva Vartate. Jagatha. यह जगतः उत्पत्ति स्थिति नाशेषु अविकारया अवगत्या एव वर्तते तम अहमस्मि इति अवेहि और तम या सोहमस्मि इति तम अवेहि अहमस्मि इति तम अवेहि न नश्वरम. This is the idea. So this is a Mahavakya. Further, Tika says तम अहमस्मि इति अवेहि न नश्वरम. What was I looking at? Something else. So tam ahamasmi iti avehi. So here this shloka we looked at. I think I scrolled something else here. Yeah. Tam ahamasmi iti avehi na nashwaram iti uktatvat atma vyatirittam api vastu angikritam iti ashankya. So Purvapakshi still thinks that we are talking about Dvaita. If you say Prapancha is there and I am there, then there is Dvaita. At another level, if you say Ishvara is there and I am there, then the teaching is what? Tam ahamasmi iti avehi. Then tam is different and aham am different, and then we put both together. So there are two to come together as one. You understand the other as yourself, therefore there is Veda. Iti uktatot atma vyatirittam api vastu angikritam. This is the question here. Iti ashankya tasya swataha paratascha asiddhehe प्रत्यगात्म आश्रय अनिर्वाच्य अनादि अविद्या विजृंभितत्वाद मा एवं इत्याह. So Siddhanti says no, between Jagat and Jiva there is Bada Samanadhikaran. Prapancha is not there in reality. What is there is Atma, Paramatma. Between Paramatma and Atma, there is a Mukhya Samanadhikaran. The Badha is of the Nama Rupa. In Ishvara also there is Nama Rupa, in Jiva also there is Nama Rupa. Prapancha Shariratvat Ishvarasya and Tadbhaga Shariratvat Jivasya. This is a fraction of the Prapancha which is taken as Jiva Sharira, and the entire Prapancha is taken as Paramatma Sharira. But Jiva has already ascertained, Sadhaka Jiva, that Prapancha is Mithya. So Nama Rupa is Mithya. Then when you say Ishvara, their Sarva Shaktimatva Nityadi is in relation to the Jagat as Srishtikarta. So that Ansha has to be given up. Bhagatyaga. You have to do Bhagatyaga Lakshana. But there is a Mukhya Samanadhikaranam between Ishvara and Atma. There is no second entity there. So Atma Vyatiriktam Vastu. Which is that Vastu? Paramatma Vastu. Angikrutam iti ashankya. If that is the Shanka, Siddhanti says Tasya Swataha Paratascha Asiddhe. Vastu here, if you look at here, Swatah Siddha, the Utpatti Sthiti Nasheshu ya Avagatyayo Vartate, that is Ishvara. So here the Vastu is not that. Not Vasati iti Vastu. Vastu is another Vishaya. So any other Vishaya. Siddhanti says Vastu, only Vastu here. This Vastu is which Vastu? So if you take anything other than you, Atma Bhinna, Purva Pakshi may think that Atma Bhinna is Paramatma. But Siddhanti is saying that Atma Bhinna Vastu is just like any other Vastu, which we have refuted. Nama Rupatmaka Prapancha. So Vishaya, if you take Vastu, then that Vishaya is not there. Vastu is not there, Atma Vyatirikta. Then can Paramatma be there, Atma Vyatirikta? That can be the idea. Vastu, only Vastu has been added here, word. And what is the context? The context is Tamaham Asmiti Avi. Therefore, Atma Vyatirikta is not Prapancha. You are not saying Tam Prapancham Aham Asmiti Avi. There, Tam is Jagataha Utpatti Sthiti Nasheshu Yaha. Who? That Yaha is not Jagat only. It is what Yaha Vartate. Chaitanya Rupena Vartate. Avikara Avagatihi. Avikara Avagati is what? It is Chaitanya. Nirvikara Chaitanya. So Nirvikara Chaitanya is not Prapancha. Therefore, this Vastu here, although it is not mentioned what it is, it's very tricky, you know. Angikrutam iti ashankya. So Siddhanti is not looking at Chaitanya or Achetana really. He says anything other than Atma. This is what you, the Purupakshi, want to establish. Anything other than Atma, Atma Vyatiriktam, Angikrutam, Kimapi Bhavatu. That is called as Vastu. Now, that Vastu can be Paramatma also, can be Prapancha also. Because Atma Vyatirikta, if you say Atma Vyatirikta, Siddhanti says, we don't agree that Paramatma is separate from us. Because Shruti says that Paramatma is Atma. But if at all you are inquiring into it, that something other than me is there, whatever that is, whether it is Namarupatmaka Prapancha or Vastu as Vasati iti Vastu, Paramatma, Ishvara, then we don't accept that also. Why? Any second entity is not proven on its own. Siddhanti says, Tasya Swatha, Tasya Kasya, Tasya Vastunaha. What Vastu has not been mentioned here. But if you look at the context of this shloka, where Tam Aham Asmiti Avehi, Tam Avehi, Aham Asmiti Avehi, there the question is what? Who is that Tam? Tam is that Jagataha Utpatti Sthiti Laya. In all of that, who is in the form of Avagati, Chaitanya Ityartha. Chaitanya Mityartha. So that Chaitanya is what? Paramatma. Atma only. So Atma Bhinna, Atma Chaitanya Bhinna, another Chaitanya also is not possible. Says the Siddhanti. Any Vastu. So here if you say you think something is there other than the Atma, that kind of thing is not established on its own. Atma Vyatirikta. Tasya Vastunaha. Which Vastu? Atma Vyatirikta Vastu. Tasya Atma Vyatirikta Vastunaha Swataha Paratascha Siddhehe. Initially, we have seen this. Swatah Siddhi is not possible for Nama Rupatmaka Prapancha. Now, Siddhanti is saying that other than the Atma, anything cannot be proven on its own. But what was said earlier, the Sakshi proves it. Sakshi is there. Sakshi being there, Sakshi proves it. Now, that is also refuted as what? Paratascha Siddhehe. Why paratascha siddhe, we'll see. Another also cannot prove it. Now this another, if you take drashtadi, that drashtadi cannot prove. Drashtra ityadi, drashta, drishya, darshana. Can they prove? No. That we have already seen. No, why is it brought up again? Siddhanti says, Pratyagatma ashraya anirvachya anadi avidya vijrumbitatvad ma evam itya. Anything that is seen as a second entity, whether it is Paramatma separate from Atma or Prapancha, which has been already refuted as separate from Atma earlier, in either case, the Bheda is established by what? Is only due to avidya. Avidya vijrumbitatvad. Avidya it is set up by avidya. Where is this avidya? What is this avidya? This avidya is anirvachya avidya. Sarasadbhya anirvachaniyatyartha. Cannot be categorically said as sat or asit. That which is not there but appears to be there. And where is it? Pratyagatma ashraya. It has Pratyagatma as its ashraya. Pratyagatma, Pratyakcha svatma cha Pratyagatma ashraya yasya anirvachya anadi avidya. It is anadi avidya, anirvachya avidya. That kind of avidya has Pratyagatma as its ashraya, and any second entity, Atma Vyatirikta, is set up by avidya. Therefore, ma evam. Therefore, there is no second entity. Thereby, Sambandhokti says Swatah Siddhehe. Anyway, there is a question. That person is not here, so I'll take it up when the person comes up. There is a question about Sakshi. Anyway, so Swatah Siddha Atma Chaitanya Pratibimbita Avicharita Siddhika Atma Anavabodha Uttha itara swabhava apeksha siddhatvat. Long samasa. A little complex samasa there. So swatah siddha atma. Here swataha is not separate. It is in part, it's a part of samasa. There should be no space here. So swatah siddha atma chaitanya. Atma chaitanya is swatah siddha. What about the atma vyatirikta vastu, whichever it is? That is not swatah siddha. Therefore, swatah siddha is atma chaitanya. And pratibimbita is what? Swatah siddha atma chaitanya. Pratibimbita is whatever is understood is through the vritti. And that vritti needs pratibimba for the phalana, for the phala to take place, meaning for jnana to take place. So this pratibimba, which is based in bimba chaitanya, that bimba chaitanya which is swatah siddha, pratyagatma, is the basis for everything to be known. So swatah siddha atma chaitanya tasya atma chaitanya tasya atma chaitanya chaitanyasya pratibimba. And pratibimbita, first pratibimbita is what? In avidya, jiva. And pratibimbita avicharita siddha. This pratibimba further goes and lights up everything else. Gatapata adi prapancha, ahankara adi prapancha. So this avicharita siddhika. Avicharita siddhika is what? That which is established because vichara has not been done. Naisargika. Ajnana is there from anadi kala. If one does not inquire into it, it continues to be there, which is our case, whereby we are samsaris. So, Atma Chaitanya, which is Swatah Siddha, that leads to Pratibimba, and Pratibimbita is Jiva. This Jiva is thought to be separate. Why? From Paramatma, because Avicharita Siddha, Avichara Siddhi, Siddhika. Avicharita Siddhika, Avicharita Siddhi. Yes, sir. That kind of Atma Anavabodha. What comes up if we have not done Vichara? The Ajnana continues, therefore Atma Anavabodha. Atma Anavabodha is not only not knowing Swarupa of Atma, but knowing it as something else. As a samsari jiva, bhinna jiva. And now everything that needs this pratibimba, drashtadi, ahankaradi prapancha, and drashta, darshana, drishya, and Paramatma also seen as separate from oneself. All of this is what has iteretara swabhava apeksha. Swabhavata iteretara apeksha. Uttha iteretara swabhava apeksha siddhatvat. They have dependency on each other to be proven that they see without the drashta, darshana, and drishya has no meaning. Drashta will become a drashta only when there is drishya padartha and darshana can take place. Darshana kriya is for the drashta to see the drishya, otherwise there is no karya there. Entire drashta drishya darshana, this prapancha made of all these triputis, that is created by Paramatma, who has no use if the prapancha is not there. Who has no use, it says he is a karma phaladata. He is a srishti karta, sthiti karta, laya karta, and karma phaladata. Whom will he give karma phala in the form of what if there is no prapancha? What srishti will he do if there is no prapancha? What sthiti will he do? What laya will he do? So it is all for the purpose of Chetana. That Chetana is he himself. Based on the karma of the Jiva, who is non-different from Paramatma, who takes himself as different due to avidya, which is anadi kala siddha, and makes this person trapped in samsara by doing karma. So karma phala, wanting to be a complete purna entity. Thereby this Paramatma himself, as though is stuck as samsari jiva, there is no bheda. So this itaretara swabhava apeksha siddhatva, they have dependency on each other. And all of that needs what? Ajnana. That ajnana is hiding the chaitanya, and the pratibimba is taken to light up everything. So this is the idea of the swata siddha atma chaitanya pratibimbita avicharita siddhika atma anavabodha uttha itaretara swabhava apeksha siddhatvat स्वतः च असिद्धेः अनात्मनः द्वैत इंद्रजालस्य. So Atma is Swata Siddha. What about the other, any other entity? Swatah cha asiddhehe anatmanah. Anatma does not have Swata Siddhi. It has dependency on the other. What is this Anatma? Anatmana Dvaita Indrajalasya. It is entire Bheda Prapancha Dvaita Indrajala, magical. So Indrajala is what? It's a projection. It's magical projection. It is a avidya karya. So thereby the next sloka, न स्वयं स्वस्य नानात्वं नावगत्यात्मना यतः नोभाभ्याम अप्यतः सिद्धम अद्वैतम द्वैतबाधया. So second entity is taken to be granted. It is not there. So how does the only single entity become known? So Siddhanti says the second entity, na swayam swasya nanatvam na avagatya atmana yatha na avagatya atmana avagatyatmana. Okay, avagatyatmana. Say it can be single word also. Single word is better. Na avagatyatmana yatha na ubhabhyam api atah siddham अतः सिद्धम अद्वैतम द्वैतबाधया. द्वैतबाधया single word. So anatma, what are anatma? Here it has been said indrajalasya. Sangati says swatah cha asiddhe anatmana dvaita indrajalasya. That dvaita indrajala jalasya dvaitasya ityartha dvaitasya nanatvam or anatmanah nanatvam. You can say anatma. Anatmanah nanatvam na swayam. So the anatmanah swasya. Anatma is swapadena anatma. So anatmanah swasya nanatvam na swayam. You can take atmana also. Swasya kasya. Kasya api bhavatu. Bheda is between jiva and jiva, jiva and prapancha, jiva and paramatma. All these ideas are there. So Sasya can mean anything. Here in the context of Anatma, but you can take Atma also, it will still work. But in the context here, Paramatma, which is seen as a second entity, thereby Atma Vyatirikta something. And Atma Vyatirikta has to be Anatma, therefore Anatma. Swasya Anatmana Nanatvam Na Swayam. See, so Purva Pakshi may say, I am asking about Ishvara. Why are you saying Anatma? I am asking you Ishvara. You should say Paramatma. Why are you saying Anatma? Siddhanti says, what is Anatma? Na Atma iti Anatma. So Atma Vyatirikta, if you say Atma Vyatirikta, Paramatma, then Paramatma will become Anatma only. Paramatma cannot remain Paramatma also. Can become Param Anatma if you want. Because Atma Vyatirikta. Atma Vyatirikta means different from Atma. Different from Atma is Anatma. You may call him Paramatma, but that Paramatma will become Anatma only. Why? Because of the very definition of Atma Vyatirikta being Anatma. Different from Atma has to be Anatma only, cannot be Atma. So Siddhanti is saying that, no, why can't it be second Atma? Siddhanti says not possible. Second Atma, if you say second Atma, that second is imagined, but it is still Atma. So you cannot say Atma Vyatirikta. Atma Vyatirikta cannot be Atma. Atma Vyatirikta will be Anatma. If you say Anatma and Paramatma, that's a contradiction. So Siddhanti says, therefore, Nanatvam Kasya Atma Vyatiriktasya Kasyapi Bhavatu Paramatmanopi Bhavatu, that will be Anatma only. So Siddhanti says, Atma Vyatirikta Anatmanaha Nanatvam Sasya Na Swayam Bhavati. Now he says, Na Avagatyatmana Yataha Yasmat Na Avagatyatmana api Bhavati. So Anatma is not proven by Anatma. But earlier what has been said? Anatma is proven by Atma. Avagati is Chaitanya Rupa Atma. That proves the other. That is what was said earlier. Now that is being corrected, saying that in Mukhya Siddhanta that is also not there. Why? We'll see why. Then can it be that the Anatma and Atma come together and then the Anatma becomes revealed? Why not? Ubhabhyam. Why can't it be both? Na Ubhabhyam Siddhanti says. Na Ubhabhyam api. So swasya nanatvam swayam na siddhyati. Swayam na bhavati siddhyati ityartha. Na avagatyatmana siddhyati. Na ubhabhyam api siddhyati. Ataha. Ataha what? Ataha siddham advaitam. Advaita is established. Second entity cannot be established any which way. Anatma cannot come up and say that, oh, I am the second entity. Atma cannot say there is a second entity outside. Both put together cannot do it. Then what is it? Advaita only. How is it Advaita? Dvaita Vadaya. Dvaita itself is not there. Dvaita Vadaya means Dvaita that you think is there cannot be established. Therefore, if it cannot be established, it stands sublated. So by sublation, through sublation, Advaita itself is established. So Anvaya is Yataha, Yasmat Karanat, Yataha, Anatmanaha Nanatvam, Indrajalasya, Indrajala Rupasya Anatmanaha, Atma Vyatiriktasya Anatmanaha, Nanatvam Swasya, that is Swasya, Swasya Nanatvam, Swayam Na Bhavati. Avagatyatmana Na Bhavati. Ubhabhyam api na bhavati. Ataha advaitam dvaita badaya siddham. Therefore, or dvaita badaya advaitam siddham. Therefore, advaita alone is established. So far you have said second entity is established by Chaitanya Atma. Now you say that is not there. There is a contradiction, says the Purva Pakshi. So here you Swata Siddhi iti Tika says Chaitanye pratibimbitam spuritam itara apeksha siddhatvat iti pratiyoginaha bhedena siddhehe tatra tatsiddhau cha pratiyoginaha bheda siddhihi iti parampara ashrayatvad ityartha. I'll not go into exact words of this sentence. It's a little tricky. technical but tricky. There are some errors. So there is a many possible errors. Therefore, the Tippana says, प्रतियोगिनः भेदेन सिद्धौ सत्याम् धर्मिणस्ततः भेदेन सिद्धि तत्सिद्धौ च प्रतियोगिनः भेदसिद्धिः इति परस्पर आश्रयत्व इत्यर्थः. So parampara ashrayatva should be read as paraspara ashraya. There is no parampara ashraya. Parampara ashraya means after one the second, and after second the first. You can say parampara, but what it means is mutual dependency. Paraspara only. So that parampara is also paraspara. So what is being said is that pratiyogi. So pratiyogi is the counterpart. So those which have dependency on each other to be proven, that's a flaw in logic. See, somebody came to you and said, Chaitra and Maitra, there are two. Okay. Chaitra says, something about there is such a thing out in the world. You say, oh, I don't think it is possible. Chaitra says it's really true. And you ask Maitra. Maitra says, yes, it is true. Now you think that there are two people who are confirming this, it has to be true. Then you inquire into it. You ask Chaitra, who told you so? Chaitra says, Maitra told me. You ask Maitra, who told you so? Maitra says, Chaitra told me. So, is it really true? Now you have a doubt. So, this paraspara ashritva is always questionable. So, one says the other exists, the other says the one exists. So, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So, they help each other out. It is vyavaharika satta. But it is not really established at all. So, Siddhanti says pratiyogi, one depends on the other, and the other depends on the first. That is a paraspara ashraya. Pratiyoginaha bhedena siddhau. For the counterpart to be there, when is there a counterpart? The second counterpart will be there only when you say that there is bheda. The other will become a counterpart only when the other is established. That means bheda. So only when there is bheda, pratiyogi is possible to be established. And once the pratibheda, pratiyogi is established, that there is a counterpart, then only there is bheda. Then only there is bheda. Otherwise, there is no bheda. So bheda and pratiyogi, meaning another entity and difference, both have dependency on each other. So neither the bheda can be proven nor the pratiyogi can be proven, meaning second entity. Second entity and the difference between me and the second entity. So anatma can be established only when there is bheda, difference from me. That there is a difference from me. If I take yes, there has to be someone else because there is difference between me and other. Therefore, there is other entity. And because there is other entity, there has to be difference between me and that entity. Therefore, tatsiddhau cha pratiyoginaha bhedasiddhihi iti paraspara ashrayatvat. Dharminas tataha bhedena siddhi. So, dharmi, some dharmi, that dharmi will also what? The pratiyogina dharmina. Bhedena siddhi. One first pratiyogi has to be established. Then that the dharmi is established. Then tatsiddhau cha pratiyoginaha bheda siddhi. Then dharmi bheda. So this is paraspara ashraya. Just take mutual dependency. Anything that depends on the other to be proven and the other needs the first to be proven, then they have dependency on each other, mutual dependency, anyonya ashraya. In Tarka it is called anyonya ashraya. So this is the meaning of the sentence in the in the Tika also, which says what? Here, initially Chaitanya Pratibimbitam Spuritam. Pratibimbitam Spuritam. Chaitanya. So Chaitanye pratibimbitam spuritam itaretara apeksha siddhatvat. So that pratibimba which has come up, it has dependency on the other. What is the other? Unless the antakarna is there, then pratibimba cannot come up. Antakarna is already taken for granted. Then that antakarna is anatma. For it to become anatma, you need atma bheda. Atma bhinna is antakarna. So atma bheda is taken for granted, therefore pratibimba. In that antakarna established, and then dharmina pratibimbita becomes pratibimbita. That also has dependency on the antakarna. Antakarna itself will become known due to this pratibimba now. Because antakarna vritti rupa will be known due to pratibimba. That pratibimba has dependency on bimba. So it's all of this is what? It's a pyramid scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. One lends to the other lends to the other. You think, oh, so much is there. Nobody other than Atma exists. Nothing other than Atma exists. So it's a pyramid scheme. So it's a hack. You look at it. Itaretara apeksha siddhatvat pratiyogina bhedena siddhehe tatra tat siddhau cha pratiyoginaha bheda siddhi iti. So pratibimbita pratiyogi will make the Bheda Siddhi. Bheda will make the Pratiyogi Siddhi. Pratibimbita. Therefore, Parampara or Paraspara Ashriyatvad ityartah. Swasya iti. Swasya iti swasya indrajalasya swayameva nanatvam na siddham. Can the indrajala anatma not be used to prove itself? Why does it exist? Because it says so. But it can't say so, it can't show itself. Why? Jadatvad. So, Swayam, not possible. Napi avagati rupena. What about avagati rupa? Napi avagati rupena jada ajadayoho aikya ayogat. So, avagati rupena anatma siddhi. The Chaitanya lights up the anatma, and then there is a jnana. Due to this jnana, you know. Siddhanti says that is also not possible because jada and ajada cannot come together at all to have that pratibimba really, whereby you will know. So avagati, that jnana is also not real. Anatma jnana as a second entity, that is also not real. So you cannot establish by because I know. Avagati rupena. Why? Jada and ajada cannot come together. Aikya, as there cannot be tadatmya sambandha at all. So I say ahankara, I am there. Why? Aham asmi. That ahankara, aham purusha, aham stri ityadi, that claim that one makes as an individual, that is not possible because that needs tadatmya. And tadatmya between what? Chaitanya ajada and jada antakarana, where there is a pratibimba. That is not possible. In reality, it is not possible. Therefore, we say adhyasika tadatmya. Real tadatmya is not possible. So jada ajada aikya is not possible. Now, ubhabhyam api. Can they both come together in some way? Siddhanti says no. Aikya is not possible, but coming together, sambandha is also not possible. Aikya is tadatmya sambandha. The way Siddhanti says adhyasika tadatmya sambandha. Only with Aikya you can prove the I as a samsari second from Atma, Atma Vyatirikta. That cannot be proven. So putting them together, both together with some sambandha, is that possible? Let Aikya not be there. Both cannot be one. That is okay. Purvapakshi may say I accept both cannot be one. So Jada cannot make a claim that it exists. Both cannot become one, and there can't be a claim that I am this Jada or I am different from this Jada, also Bheda, or I am this Jada and there is another Jada which is separate from me. You can't make any of these claims because Tadatmya is needed with the second entity, so to say. For that also, second entity has to be proven for Tadatmya to be there. That is also not possible. Aikya is not possible because Jada and Ajada cannot come together as one. Then both with some other sambandha, is it possible? Siddhanti says no, na ubhabhyam. Why? Sanyoga samavayadi sambandha asambhavat. He says there is no possibility of sanyoga. Sanyoga is between two dravyas. Second is not there. How can there be some sanyoga? Samavaya is not possible. Samavaya is a nitya sambandha. Nitya is only one. You cannot have nitya sambandha. And if you say nitya sambandha, where will the sambandha stay? Sambandha has to be there in Atma. How will sambandha stay in Atma when Atma is nirguna? And also, is completely a single homogeneous entity without any parts. Niravayava. So Niravayava cannot have any sambandha. Sanyoga is not possible. Samavaya is also not possible. Nitya sambandha is not possible. Guna Guni, Veda, we don't accept that. That is not possible. Therefore, sambandha being asambhava, you cannot have both coming together with some kind of an arrangement and proving the second entity. On this, there is a tippana. Says, Drigdrishyor iti shesha. So it says, Sanyoga samavayadi sambandha asambhava. Between Drik and Drishya, you cannot have. Ataha दुर्निरूप सिद्धिकत्वात् द्वैतस्य अद्वैतमेव परमार्थत्वं परमार्थम इत्यर्थः. So put a comma here, द्वैतस्य. अतः द्वैतस्य दुर्निरूप सिद्धिकत्वात्. Not only unable to establish, but impossible. So this here says dur. It says impossible. Impossible to establish. Second entity itself is impossible to be established. Therefore, what remains Paramarthata? It is Paramartham is Advaitam only. So this is the idea. First, so there was a Nanatvam. I left that tippanam. Advaitatmana eva Paramarthatvam Dvaitasya cha mithyatvam spashtayati anena shlokena. Nanatvam means what? Vastvantaratvam iti bhavaha. So Nanatvam is second entity, second vastu. Whether it is Atma or Anatma, neither can be there. Because Advaita Atma is Paramartha. Dvaita is Mithya. This is established in this shloka. So the second entity earlier was said that it is proven by the Atma. But here it has been refuted. Why? Because Jada and Ajada cannot come together at all. There cannot be Pratibimba also. That also is Mithya, really. Meaning, Pratibimba coming up is Mithya. Pratibimba really is Bimba only. So, Bimba alone exists. Pratibimba is Bhranti in the Antakarana, which is Bhranti. So, this is the idea. Further, what? There is no Sangati, I think. Yeah, here. So, yeah, there is a Sangati. Sambandhokti. Yathokta artha pratipatti dradimne shrutyudarana upanyasah. So tarka, shruti. Keeps on switching between the two so that Shuddha tarka, the Shushka tarka, not Shuddha tarka, Shushka tarka should not be used. So Siddhanti brings up Shruti every opportunity he gets to show that our tarka is based in Shruti, yours is not. So Siddhanti says Yatokta Artha Pratipatti Dradimni, to make the Pratipatti understanding of the ideas which have been stated, to make it Drida, firm. For that purpose, Shruti Udharana Upanyasa. So a sampling of the Shruti is made, it is elaborated in terms of, you can elaborate further, Upanyasa, it is stated. So examples are stated which are mere samplings of the Shruti. Thereby, the next verse, which says what? 113th verse says, Nitya avagati rupatvat karakadir na chatmanah astulam neti netiti na jayata iti shrutihi. So, Nitya avagati rupatvat, single word, Nitya avagati rupatvat karakadihi na cha atmanah. Astulam na iti iti na jayate iti shrutihi. So astulam, ananu, ityadi Shruti says, and then says na iti, na iti. It's not stula, it is not, it is not stula, it is not sukshma, it is not mahat, it is not anu. So all these contradictory words are used to show that any kind of measure is not possible. It is not an object. So it is not this, it is not that also. In everything, if another option comes up, not that also. If it is not this, then it has to be that. So we know only this and that. If it is not this, it has to be that. No, no, it is not that. Then it has to be this. No, you cannot have that. So both of these ideas are removed. Neither this nor that, neither karya nor karana, neither mahat nor anu, neither gross nor subtle. So all of these ideas are refuted. Any idea comes up to qualify Atma, all those are taken away. Thereby what? Here Nitya Avagati Rupatvat. Kasya. Tika didn't say anything, I think. 113 Tika itself is not there, is it? Yeah, 12 and 13 are together here. So here, Nitya Avagati Rupatvat Karakadi. What is Karakadi here? The Kartrakaraka. Basically what? Drashta, Darshana, Drishya. What was said as Drashta, Darshana, Drishya. So Nitya Avagati is what? Nitya Avagati is what? Atma. Atma is Nitya Jnana. So Chaitanya. Nitya Chaitanya. Rupatvat. Kasya Atmana only. Thereby, Atma is what? Not Karakadihi. Atmana Karakadi. So Atmana Karakadi na. Karakaditvam. Tva would have been good. Atmanaha Shashti is there. Nityavagati Rupatvat Karakadi. Atmana Nityavagati Rupatvat Karakadi. So you'll have to say, so Atmana will go with this Tva Pratyaya. So Atmanaha Nityavagati Rupatvat Atma Karakadi na bhavati. Karakadi hi na bhavati. So you'll have to say supply Atma. In Sangati, if it is there, you can reuse. In Sangati, Yatokta Artha Pratipatti Dradimne Shruti Udharana Upanyasa. Nothing has been given. So Atma. What is Atma? Atma has been said to be what? Astulam, na neti neti. Astulam is separate. Neti neti is separate. Na jayate separate. Iti Shruti. So these are the samples. So Atma na jayate. Atma astulam. Ananu. Neti neti. Iti. So Atma being Nityavagati Rupa, Atma cannot be Karakadi. Atma Karakadi na bhavati. And then iti Shruti. All of these. So Tarka is also given. Panchami. Nityavagati Rupatvad Atmana. Atma is Nitya Chaitanya. So Nitya being Nitya na jayate. Jnana Rupa. So Astula. Astula and then Anunu also. Because it's Jnana Rupa. You cannot have Jnana as Stula. Jnana is Sukshma. So you can read in that way. Avagati Rupatva. And Karakadi. Karakas come and go. Therefore, Kartru Karaka, Karma Karaka, none of these Karakas, Atma can be. Atma can be none of these Karakas. Therefore, this shloka just says Atma cannot be any of the Karakas and cannot be born. So, Shadbha Vikara Rahita also. Thereby, the 113th verse. Further, Sarvasya. So, further the Tika says, Mithyadehe Dvaita Prapanchasya Atma Vyatiriktasya tu Asadhanam. Asadhanam, Asadakam. So, here Asadhanam, there is a Tippana. Asadhanam is a Buddhyadi Dvaita Prapanchasya Atma Vyatirikta Asadakatva. Asadhanam is Asadakatva. There is no sadhana. So, asadhana, if you read, it will be Bahuri. Avidyamanam sadhanam yasya. that which does not have sadhana to be proved. So here you have buddhyadi dvaita prapancha, ahankaradi dvaita prapancha. Is it atma vyatirikta or not? Purvapakshi will say yes, it is atma vyatirikta. Siddhanti also earlier said atma vyatirikta only. Mamaham janami, there mam stands for ahankara, not atma. Therefore, it is a second entity. Siddhanti says it is not second entity. It is mithya. It is not atma, but it is not anatma, real anatma also. It is mithya. Therefore, buddhyadi dvaita prapanchasya atma vyatirikta asadakatva. You cannot prove that there is a second entity separate from atma. Then will it be atma? Siddhanti says you can call it atma with bhada samanadikaram. Meaning, like sarpa is rajju. Sarpa is not there. If I ask you, Siddhanti ask the Purvapakshi, if I ask you, is sarpa there? You will say no. Was it seen? Yes. Is it different from atma? You will say no. Sorry, different from rajju? You will say no. Is it one with rajju? Do you say yes? If you say yes, I'll also say yes. So if he says yes, we'll say yes. Just like sarpa is non-separate from rajju, similarly, prapancha, buddhyadi dvaita prapancha is non-separate from atma. Really not existent. So atma vyatirikta asadakatvat iti chandrika. Mithyade iti eva pathe. If there is mithyade, so here what mithyade? If mithyade is mentioned, then anitya, anatmata, adi sangraha. So it is anityatva. So mithyadi means what? Anityatva, anatmatva, all of these, none of these are established. What is asadhanam? Asadhanatvam. So asadhanatvam. Sadhayati iti kartru utpatya asadakatvam ityartha. So there, again I mentioned earlier, lu pratyaya. So you use lu pratyaya instead of lut, you will get kartari artha also. With lut pratyaya, you get akartari. Akartari cha karake sanyaya. So with lu pratyaya also you will get asadhanam. So asadhanam, napunsaka, therefore asadhanam. Siddhanti says asadhanatvam. So bhava nirdesha has to be done. Sadhayati kartritpati, sadhayati iti kartritpatya. With lu pratyaya, you get asadakatva as meaning there. Asadhanatva means asadaka. Sadhana is in karta meaning. So asadaka ityartha. Here, so मिथ्यादेहे द्वैत प्रपंचस्य आत्म व्यतिरिक्तस्य आत्म मिथ्यादे व्हाट इज दिस मिथ्यादि आत्म व्यतिरिक्तस्य द्वैत प्रपंचस्य मिथ्यादेहे तु असाधनम मीन्स असाधकत्वम इट कैनॉट बी एस्टैब्लिश्ड व्हाई तस्य जडस्य स्वतः सिद्धि वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दिस बाय इटसेल्फ जड़ा कैनॉट प्रूव एनीथिंग इट इज जड़ा cannot prove itself also. Therefore, there is no second entity. Atma Chaitanya.
Somji, your screen is not moving. Is it for me, for everybody?
No, it is not moving here. So, Atma Yatiriktasya, here, I have not moved it to this thing. So, Dvaita Prapanchasya here, what was going on in Mithyade. So, yes, Sangati. Mithyade Dvaita Prapanchasya Atma Yatiriktasya tu Asadhanam. Is it clear? Is it seen now? Yeah. So मिथ्यादे द्वैत प्रपंचस्य आत्म व्यतिरिक्तस्य तु असाधनम तस्य जडस्य स्वतः असिद्धेः. I think I have two copies opened here. Looks like two copies are open. Just a second. Because I was able to see it. Oh, there is one open in the browser. So I was scrolling the browser copy because that also comes up on screen. What opened in the browser? Scrolling now? Scrolling, right? Yeah, okay. So, yeah. So this is a PDF here. So mithya dvaita prapanchasya atma vyatirittasya tu asadhanam means what? Asadakatvam. So I'll go through this again. So there is a tippana here which says what? Buddhyadi dvaita prapanchasya atma vyatirikta asadakatvat. Since the dvaita prapancha buddhyadi cannot be proven as being separate from Atma. Therefore, and if you see only Mithyadi Patha, in this Tika you have Mithyadi iti Pathe Anitya Atmata, Anatmata, Adi Sangraha. So Mithya is what? Anitya is Mithya, Anatma is Mithya. So no, Mithyadi can be established. Dvaita Prapancha is Mithya, Mithya Adi. So Mithya Adi means what? Anityatva, Anatmatva, all these can be added to with the Adi Pada. So it cannot be established. Neither can Mithya be established, nor Mithya meaning Mithya Padartha be established at all as real. Anityatva cannot be established, something Anitya, something Anatma, separate from Atma cannot be established. And Asadhanam is what? Asadhanatvam. And Sadhayati iti Kartruvitpatya, Lyu Pratyanta, therefore Kartari, you will get Asadhana in Asadhanam in Napunsaka, but in Karta meaning, using Lyu, not Lyut. And Bhava Nirdeshak will give you Asadhanatvam. So Asadhakatvam ityartha. Sadhana is in Karta meaning, therefore Sadhaka, and Bhava Nirdesha Sadhanatvam means Asadhanatvam means will Asadhakatvam. Thereby the Mula will read, not the Mula, Tika. Tika will read what? Mithyadehe Dvaita Prapanchasya Atma Vyatiriktasya tu Asadhakatvam. It cannot establish itself. Mithyadi cannot, Dvaita Prapancha cannot establish itself. See, when you say Mithya, it is sufficient. Why Adi? Therefore, Anatma, Anitya, these words have been added in the Tippana. Or you read the Chandrika Patha. So, Tasya Jadasya Swata Asiddhehe. Mithya, Dvaita Prapancha, being Mithya, being Prapancha, Nama Rupatma, being Anatma. Why? Because Atma Vyatirikta, therefore it is Jada. Tasya Jadasya Swata Asiddhe. Jada cannot prove anything on its own. Atma Chaitanyasya Jade Prati Sankramayitum Shakyatva. Is Shakyatva should be read as Ashakyatva. There is a Tippana there. 3 Ashakyatva Diti Pathaniyam. Jadam Prati Sankramayitum Ashakyatvena. So Danda is missing here. Ashakyatvena. O is missing there. Iti Chandrikayam. So Jadam Prati Sankramayitum Ashakyattvena. So what is being said is Atma Chaitanyasya Jade Prati Sankramayitum Ashakyatvat. There is no sambandha possible. Jadam Prati, their sambandha is not possible. Therefore, Jade Prati, Jadam Prati, Sankrama is not possible. Sankramayitum Ashakyatvat. You have to read an A here. Since it is not possible to connect, what is it then finally? Mithyatvam balad apatati ityaha. So second cannot have sambandha. Atma Chaitanya cannot have sambandha with the second entity, whether it is Tadatmya or any other sambandha. It cannot be proven as a second entity at all. Therefore, mithyatva has to be accepted. Mithyatvam balad apatati. Even if nobody accepts it, it has to be taken for granted as mithya. Not taken for granted as real, the way others do it. We say that it has to be mithya. Anything seen as a second entity, which cannot be established as a second entity, has to be in the koti of mithya. It will be categorized as mithya only. Sadasadbhyam anirvachaniya mithya only. Balad apatati itya sarvasyeti. Thereby Mulakara says, Sarvasya asya grahakadehe dvaita prapanchasya. This grahaka, grahana and grahya, triputi, and everything that follows. Anything that you try to put as separate from this, meaning what? Prama also. Grahi. So that is also what? Sarvasya asya grahakadehe dvaita prapanchasya atma anavabodha matra upadanasya. Anavabodha is ajnana. So atma ajnana itself is upadana karana for grahakadi dvaita prapancha. Sarva. Not anything left out. Nothing is left out. Each and everything seen as a second entity, whatever it is, it has to be what? It has to be mithya, because ajnana, atma ajnana is karana. Not knowing one swarupa as purna thereby thinking that I am segmented and anything else exists other than me. This is all not knowing oneself in one's true swarupa due to ajnana. Therefore, ajnana is upadana karana. And thereby this grahakadi is what? Swayam seddhum ashakya. Swayam seddhum ashakyatvat sarvasya asya grahakadehe dvaita prapanchasya. It is impossible for these to be established. Second, as second. Seddhum ashakyatva, seddhum means for siddhi. Siddhi is not possible. Seddhum ashakya. What about Atma? Atma siddhehe cha anupadayatvat. There is no karana. There is no upadana for Atma Siddhi. Atma Siddhi is Swatah Siddha. Atma Siddhi is Swatah. So Swatah Siddhi Atmana. So Atma Siddhi is Swatah by itself. By itself meaning not Kartru Karma Virodha. Does not need anything. I am there. So we know that we are there and Asmi Bhami cha. I shine forth as a conscious entity on its own. On my own. There is nothing else needed there. Not as an object, as a subject. As a subject, I shine forth. As a sakshi, I shine forth. So there is absolutely no dependency on anything else. So Atma Siddhehe cha anupadayatvat. There is nothing else needed. Therefore, the 114th verse says, Atmanaschainnivaryante buddhideha ghathadayaha shashtagochara kalpaste vijneyah paramarthatah. So mithya has been mentioned. Now in 114 verse, mithya is a placeholder. Tuchha iti artha. Finally, from Atma Drishti, tuchha only. From the sadhaka drishti mithya. This is, difficult for many to understand. Oh, you have become shunyavadi, prapancha not being there. Shunyavadis don't say prapancha is not there and stop there. They say Atma is also not there. How can we be shunyavadis? So it is misunderstanding Shunyavada also and Tattva also, Vedanta also. These are the people who say that you are talking like a Shunyavadi. They neither know the Bauddha Mata. Bauddhas will say that Vedanta is not our Mata. Vedantis say Bauddha is not our Mata. So if two parties are disagreeing, who is this third entity, third party who says that you both are speaking the same language? One who is not accepted by either has not understood either. So don't think that we are talking like Shunyavadis. Siddhanti will say Atma Drushtya, nothing else is there. Nothing else there means Shunya only. No, it is Mithya. It is Mithya for a sadhaka. From Atma, Paramarthata Kim? Paramarthata, there is no second entity. There is no medium for something to come up. Paramatma does not have ajnana. There cannot be from Paramarthika Nirguna Brahma Drishti. There is no Drishti also. We say sitting here, there has to be Drishti. Sitting here, we think, no, from this perspective, it may not be there. From that perspective, there is something else. There is no perspective at all. Sitting there is no sitting there also possible. So all these words are just, they are because we don't have anything else. Words need a language, and in language, you have these limitations where we take things for granted from ajnana perspective, and those same words are used in the Paramartha. As from the Paramartha perspective, Paramarthata. So Paramarthata, there is no perspective. From the standpoint of the Atma, if there was a standpoint, sitting here, I think that there is a standpoint. There is no standpoint. Atma is one without a second. There is no standpoint also possible. So from here, I think, had I been on the other side, calling that a side, had I crossed over from Ajnana into Jnana, then Jnana Swarupa has nothing other than itself. So where is the drishti possible? So sitting here, I analyze as to there is jnana drishti. So Siddhanti says Atmanaha chet nivaryante buddhi deha ghata deha. Single word. Shashta gochara kalpaha te kalpa pratyaya. Similar to Shashta gochara. Shashta gochara is what? Sixth pramana gochara. Sixth pramana is anupalabdhi. This word has come up earlier. Shashta gochara. Vijnyeyaha paramarthataha. So Shashta gochara kalpaha means what? anupalabdhi pramana tulya. Known from gochara means known. Shashta is pramana. Anupalabdhi pramana. Gochara is known via shashta, meaning anupalabdhi pramana. What is known? Abhava. Ghadabhava. Bhutale ghato nasti. How do we know? Anupalabdhi pramana. Shashta pramana siddha. Shashta pramana gochara is anupalabdhi of ghata. Abhava of ghata. Similarly, what? Buddhi deha ghatadeya atmana chet nivaryante. If they are not atma, separate from atma, and not established as separate also, nivaryante. There is a tippana here. What does it say? Yadi atmana sakashat buddhi deha ghatadeya shuktyadehe rajatadivat pruthak kriyante. There is a visarga sitting here, okay? Shuktyadehe rajatadi. Does anyone know what happened here? What sandhi is this where visarga has gone? This is a difficult sandhi, okay? Not easy to remember. You can't say puro rupa ityadi, such sandhis are not there. What is this sandhi? Anyone knows? Vyakarana, house have studied sutras.
Lopa Shakalya, sir?
What is that?
Is that because of Lopa Shakalya, sir?
No. Lopa shakalya says yakara and there is no possibility of yakara vakara here. This is rori.
Rory. Okay.
Rori. So rori lopa. Dhralope purvasya dirgona. So rori. So dhode. So there is a dhakara. After dhakara undergoes lopa. Refa after refa undergoes lopa. So here it is refa. Ru. So sakara has become refa. Sakara becomes ru and there is a rajata refa here. So there is shukta der rori lopa. Then there is another sutra which comes up. This is outside of Tripadi though. Dhralope purvasya dirgona. Anaha. So ekara is anakshara. So undergoes dirgha. When there is a kara lopa or refa lopa. So dhralope. So when there is dhralope sati, when the dhralopa, this is an exception that you come from Tripadi to Sapada, Sapada, Saptadhyayi. So this is an exception. You can't go back usually. So here you have to go back because otherwise the sutra will become Vyartha. Panini Sutra, Dhalope Purvasya Dirgona cannot apply because Dhalopa takes place only in Tripadi. So Shuktyadehe, Ekara is already Dirgha. So this is Parjanyavat. So Dirgha is applied. Parjanyavat means the rain does not look at, when the rain falls in, Parjanya, rain, it does not look at whether the ground is already wet or if there is already water. It will fall, the rain will fall even in the watery places, in the river also, in the samudra also. Similarly here what? Parjanyavat. Ekara, make Ekara Dirgha. Ekara is already Dirgha. What Dirgha will you make? No, Parjanyavat. So Dirgha Adesha will apply. Otherwise you'll forget. Ekara is there. Sometime Ekara may not be there and Dirgha Adesha may be there. What will you do then? So you have to apply. Parjanyavat. Make Ekara. Ekara becomes Ekara. Dirgha. With the Dirgha Adesha. So Shuktyadehe rajatadivat pruthak kriyante. So here yadi atmana sakashat buddhi deha ghatadeya shuktyadehe panchami rajatadivat pruthak kriyante. Like rajata is separated from shuktyadi. I gave the Rajju Sarpa example. Here if you say if buddhi deha ghatadi are separated from atma, just like rajata is separated from shukti or adipadena, sarpa is separated from Rajju. Pruthak kriyante yadi. So atmanas chet. Yadi. Chet means yadi. Buddhi deha ghatadeha nivaryante are separated. Like that. Then what? So he'll say, oh, Rajju is not Sarpa. Does it mean Sarpa is really there? No. We say it's Rajju, it is not Sarpa. Means what? Is Sarpa separate from Rajju? Yes, elsewhere separate. Here, separate means it is not there. Therefore, what? Shashta gochara kalpaha. Shashta gochara kalpa. Like they are seen with a anublabdhi pramana. One who sees Rajju as Rajju, then Sarpa asti va? Sarpa nasti. मनुषी शुक्ति अशुक्ति रजतमस्ति वा नास्ति किं रजतमस्ति नास्ति सो षष्ठगोचर कल्प so what happened to sarpa there was no sarpa nasti bhutale ghato nasti similarly what anuplabdhi pramana now sarpa nasti bhutale sarpo nasti bhutale rajatam nasti so षष्ठगोचर similarly what buddhi deha ghatadeya atmana पृथक् क्रियन्ते निवार्यन्ते मीन्स पृथक् क्रियन्ते चेत यदि then what षष्ठगोचर कल्पाते न सन्ति इत्यर्थः सो ते षष्ठगोचर कल्पाः सन्तः विज्ञेय परमार्थतः सो परमार्थतः हाउ शुड यू नो द विज्ञेय विशेष रूपेण ज्ञेय हाउ षष्ठगोचर कल्प न सन्ति इत्यर्थः सो दिस इज द 114th verse here last sentence will finish this in the tika nivaryante means tatswarupatvena tadiyatvena cha sorry nishidyante chediti yavat so nivaryante means what atmanah nivaryante panchami from atma if they are separated out not as satya as rajju sarpa is separated from rajju or rajata is separated from shukti then tatswarupatvena na santi ityartha how are they separated with the cognitive understanding that buddhi deha ghata ityadi ghatapatadi prapancha are not there in swarupa atma satta is swarupa they do not have that kind of a swarupa tadiyatvena cha so has to be tadiyatvena are they there in their swabhava the way you see their swarupa no they are not there atma swarupetvena na santi sat swarupena na santi and what sat swarupena na tadiyatvena as ghatapatadi also they are not there so you can say tadiyatvena cha nishidyante or you can tatswarupatve you see either you can take tatswarupa as atma swarupa or tatswarupa as buddhi deha ghatadi swarupa then you say tadiya you have to take sambandha also tadiyatvena means as mind so buddhi deha ghatadi tadiya is what like Dhritarashtra says mamaka pandavascha so mamaka tadiya so sambandha is there tadiya shows sambandha so tatswarupena means atma swarupatvena and atma sambandhitvena also not there then buddhi ghatadi if you take tat then also they are not there as having satta they in their own form also or sambandha with atma but tat is better as atma here nivaryante atmana nivaryante then atma swarupatvena na santi and atmiyatvena api na santi this is the idea nishidyante chediti yavat okay so that is a 114 verse we'll look at more in the next part lot of 3 pages here यत् साक्षात् सच्चिदानंदं प्रत्यगद्वयमक्रियं तन्नमामि नृस्य योगी गम्यं परम पदम नमस्ते धन्यवाद